Karen,
Hey,
we're here.
try and sit elegantly.
Yeah. Back together again. Super excited to be here with you today.
Same here.
I've got a list of questions for you.
Good enough to hold it a bit closer.
I hope you're ready. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Let's go. So first, we're going to get straight into it. Take me back to when you were a planner. I think it was maybe
Early 90s.
early 90s.
1993,
Okay.
I started in the industry.
Take me back to when you were a planner to now. What's changed? I know there's been a lot, but has the industry gotten better or?
I think everything has changed from when I entered the industry in the early 90s. I didn't have a mobile phone. We didn't have email. And I only had to think about planning 2 commercial channels for TV. There was no social media. And if you fast forward to now, everything's changed. Everything's a medium that you can use to connect with people. So everything has changed.
And I think it's safe and fair to say that everything's changed because of AI.
Everything's changed because of technology. So AI has been around, 10, 15 years. It's only the last 3 years that 5 years that people have really been focusing on AI. But absolutely, it is ensuring that all of us are having to stay on our feet, keep up to speed. It's like a fitness program. If you can't stay off it, you've got to keep going and keep learning.
So let's go a bit deeper into that. I mean, are you worried or concerned about the potential of AI, particularly as it pertains to storytelling, or is it something that you find exciting?
I am hugely excited by how AI can be an enhancement to what we do. I believe in a human interface with AI and it being fused together to only help us go deeper, go faster, and go at scale. So I'm excited by AI and tech and how it can enhance what we're doing, not replace what we're doing. And I think that's really important that organizations look at enhancement, not replacement.
But what's your feeling or your thought when you see everything that's happening with deep fakes right now? And, talk to me a little bit about your concern there. There must be some concern.
Look, there is obviously concern about the guardrails and the governance around AI and that the governance keeps up with the pace of change. And of course, anybody can use technology for bad, not good. We've always had that in terms of technology being able to be used for bad and not good. And of course, it's a concern. But I genuinely believe you get all the smart people that are developing AI in a room to help with the governance of it and to keep pace with it. And we keep checking in on how we're doing. I think I've got to be optimistic about the future rather than pessimistic and concerned. So I really want to see how, deep fakes, the bad use of technology and AI, that's always been there. It's about making sure that we use the brilliant, smart, intelligent people to help with the governance, not just the development.
So essentially you feel like it's consequently there's almost a new industry emerging as a result.
Yeah, I mean, if I think about how AI and tech could and should be used, you really should think about it about job creation. There's jobs that will exist and do exist because of the development and use in AI that weren't there before. So whether that's, AI project managers, whether it's AI training managers and adapters, because AI, you've got to get people to adopt it and use it for it to work within an organization. That's a role where you can have people using AI and training people how to use it. So I think there's jobs that can exist and should exist by AI and not a focus on, which lots of organizations are doing, replacing people with AI. I think that's the wrong route. So look at where you can be more efficient, look at where you can be more accountable, look at where you can take away some of the manual jobs that we're doing as humans, and actually take those people, take that brain power, take that, new bandwidth that they have, and put it into the creativity in a business and upskill people as well. I'm passionate about, if there's a cost saving, use part of that cost saving to upskill people and retrain people.
We're going to come back to that. I know we have a lot of brand storytellers and marketers out there. What do you see as the biggest risk right now for brand storytellers and marketers and creatives? Is it, intellectual property? Is it sort of the devaluation of creative? What do you think is the real risk?
I think the big risk is what it's always been about, being too far away from real, authentic consumer insight. So I think that's a huge risk when, in my time in the advertising world, seeing brand stories that did not reflect a true consumer story, that means that what you're creating is not going to stick. So I think that's a huge risk. Of course, intellectual property and some of the big cases that we see coming up is a risk as well. And obviously the replacement of people is a huge risk. But I think the best stories, the best brand stories have always been based on real consumer insight, and it's how you use AI to find and mine that information and mine that data to find those insights that brilliant creatives can then use.
So I'm going to push a little bit here. Do you think the advertising industry is in trouble?
I think the advertising industry needs to learn how to pivot. So if you think about where AI is being adopted, 50% of the businesses are using AI in sales and marketing functions. That's where AI is being used at its most within an organization. And I think the model of how advertising agencies have been built needs to change. So we had a bit of a chat before coming on stage, which is we are in a world where anybody can be a brilliant creator now because of the technology available to create, produce, distribute. We are in a brilliant world where anybody can be a creator because we've got technology in our pockets that allows us to create Hollywood-style productions ourselves. So I think the agency model has to think about how you harness that creativity and that talent and how you allow it to be flexible and fluid rather than a rigid structure which some agencies are still adopting.
So do you think they're changing fast enough? So you say they're still adopting.
Sorry, say that again?
Do you think the agencies are changing fast enough?
No.
To meet the pace, yeah.
No, I don't. Because it takes time to change an oil tanker sometimes. It takes time to move direct and change direction. And it's hard to do because of legacy structures. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
But I think where you have got brilliant AI experts within organizations, they are changing, and I think it's that brilliant combination of AI experts with amazing creatives are the companies and the organizations that are going to survive.
And it really is about that sort of hybrid and bridge of bringing together technology with creatives. That's what's happening right now. So do you think that AI is actually going to make us better storytellers? Is it going to make us more creative or less?
Look, I think you have to think about how you harness it. It's that bit that I said about human interface with technology, bring them together, and how, look, AI is only as good as the prompt that you give it, because AI is all about machine learning and it's all about making sure that it is optimizing against a prompt or an objective. So it is only as good as the prompt that you put in, and we need to make sure that we're putting the right prompts in. And actually, if you put the right prompt in to get to the right information, to tell a brilliant story, to find where you get all of those different unique insights and use that as a prompt, I think it can enhance what we're doing as storytellers, not replace what we're doing as storytellers.
So speaking of that, what are the new skills sort of, what are the literacies that you feel creative or brand marketers, what is it that they need to have right now? Do they need to become prompt engineers or
Look,
data storytellers?
if you think about what is required in a omnichannel world and a world of personalization, that's where you need to think about the skill sets that all of us need in terms of marketeers or brand gurus. There is a bit which is about content creation. So how do you make sure that you get the right insights to create the right content which is needed? There is a bit which is absolutely about UX and UI. So how do you make sure that you've got that content in the right place, saying the right thing at the right time, so that customer experience. There's then the bit which is about the orchestration. So you can now have multiple channels. So how do you get that consistency across different channels, across different markets, to a different consumer and customer? And then there's the bit which is optimization. So how do you optimize so that you're making sure that you're seeing the right piece of content at the right time to the right person in different areas? So I do think the skills which are needed are in those four areas. Content creation, absolutely about understanding how that content's going to show up, so UX and UI. It is about orchestration, so how you're going to ensure consistency in multiple different areas. And it is then about the data that you get back that allows you to optimize. So those are the areas where I think people really have to focus in terms of the skill sets.
So I know you're very passionate about the workforce and the people, but are there any specific tools or things that you're seeing that people aren't getting right? You know, we're talking about the pace of AI right now and how quickly things are changing. So when people need to upskill, particularly, you know, many of the people in the audience want to know, so what exactly should they be? Should they be going to training? Should they be looking at things online? What should they be doing?
Look, I think AI can be used and should be used by organizations to look at your workforce planning. That's another way of using AI. So who have you got in your organization? What are the skills that you've got in your organization? How are you upskilling, retraining, filling the gaps within your organization in an AI future world? So that is absolutely where AI should be used in terms of workforce management. But also, I mean, you can use AI to look at the diversity of your organization, to look at the diversity of the customers that you're trying to serve, and actually looking at the right programs to upskill and retrain people. And whether that's online, in person, it doesn't matter. It's about the challenge and the gap that you're trying to fill and the right way of doing it.
So do you feel like, especially, I think there's a lot of people that also feel like maybe they're being left behind if they haven't sort of already taken advantage of some of the programs that their companies might offer, for example. Is it too late to level up, like right now? So would you say if you haven't started your AI journey, is it too late?
Absolutely not. And I think, look, there are some organizations where they have brought in AI experts, and those AI experts are helping to upskill the workforce. You can use those organizations as well to help individuals, because this is about future-proofing your career. So it is absolutely not too late. It absolutely is essential. And as I said, it's like a fitness program. It's something that you've got to keep at it. You can't come off the treadmill or else you're going to get fattened up a little bit. So it's like a fitness program that you've got to keep going, because it will keep changing and it will keep evolving.
And what do you see is right now, are you primarily seeing AI as an operational tool, or do you actually feel that AI is enhancing the creative?
It's both. I think you've got organizations that are using AI to create digital twins that are looking at the entire value chain of an organization, which then allows you to test and learn and optimize. And you've got other organizations which are probably further back on the journey, not quite as advanced, and are dipping their toes in the sales and marketing function and using AI to look at churn analysis, to look at, I don't know, optimization, and looking at content creation. So it's both. It's operational in terms of how you run a business, making sure that you don't get out of stocks, making sure that you absolutely are looking at churn analysis, but it's also creative as well in terms of that content creation and production.
And what about, especially in your new role, how do you feel the industry of academia is embracing and making the changes as it pertains to AI?
So look, my roles span a range of things. So there's, Chancellor of a university where the discussions about AI are constant and about how students are using AI to find insights, but also making sure that students aren't using AI to write their dissertations and to do their dissertations. But there's also AI being used, in FTSE 100 NED role that I have, where we're looking at how AI can impact the business and the creation of digital twins. Same in the fashion industry, so on the British Fashion Council, how do designers use AI to look at, the best bits of fashion, the best bits of a trend, to repurpose it and reimagine it? And, I've got a foreign office role, so I'm a NED for the Foreign Office, and AI is absolutely something which is important when you look at Britain on the world stage.
So you're not concerned that we could potentially become sort of creatively homogenous as we all start to use AI? No, okay. So
no, I'm really not concerned because I think if anything, we should be using AI and tech to get us those creative insights from everywhere, to mine deeper, to go wider, that you don't get that homogeneity, that you don't get that.
So I have a few rapid fire questions for us, our last few minutes.
No problem.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how rapid I'll be, but I'll give
Let's see.
it a go.
You get time to think about it. You can take a little pause if you need to. So, AI as a creative partner, friend or foe?
Friend.
Friend.
Yep. AI can, as long as it's used to enhance, not replace, it's a friend.
So, just because obviously in the world and the news we're hearing so much about deepfakes, so much about creatives being put out of their roles because of AI, what is driving your optimism?
Because AI is only as good as the prompts. You can not get brilliant creativity without the right prompts going in, and that still requires brilliant creatives to do it.
Okay, so speaking of which, prompt versus sketch. What's the new starting point?
Prompt versus?
Sketch. An actual sketch, I know.
Prompt.
Okay. Creative block. So when you have a creative block, is AI the cure or the curse or the cause?
It's one of the cures, not the only cures. There is nothing beating talking to people and talking it out, but it's one of the cures, not the only cure.
Okay, the future creative team. So let's think of the future in terms of maybe a year from now. Mm-hmm. More poets or more engineers?
It's never either or. I really am of this world. I know it sounds like a cop-out, but it is never either or. The beauty comes from the interface between the two.
So do you find that team sizes, particularly people here that are, say, startups, is suddenly the team need to be double the size because you need to have engineers and creatives together?
Look, I do think that where AI is being used by organizations to drive margin and they're taking people out, I think part of what they should be doing is reinvesting in those new roles which require AI to be managed properly. So I genuinely believe that it's about the different type of workforce that you need, not necessarily a smaller workforce. It's the different skills within the workforce.
And when you talk about AI being managed properly, does that sort of go back to how you were talking about building up AI governance teams, or
Yeah, it's the AI project managers, it's the AI trainers, it's the AI ethics and governance. Absolutely, it's different types of roles that are going to be needed. So whereas we're all getting excited about efficiency because of AI, actually there's other roles and costs that you need to put back into an organization.
The most valuable part of the story that AI can't touch? Is it sort of the emotional core, cultural context, something else? What do you feel like AI can't do?
I'm not sure AI can do emotion. And AI will still not disrupt live events, whether that's entertainment or sport. So I still think AI cannot touch those areas.
Okay, looking ahead, what's the most exciting brand project that you feel AI can enable? So what haven't we seen yet that you think it might be able to do?
I was at a different conference about a year ago, and it's not necessarily a brand project, but I saw how AI was being used by organizations like the UN in order to combat and help with peace negotiations. So I'm going bigger than brand, and I'm going more about AI being used to hear how different factions who are at war using AI to find out the sentiment on both sides to help look at what's the right prompts for peace negotiations based on different warring sides and sentiment that's out there in social media, in the press, to help find the prompts that can come up with those peace negotiation talks. That's been the most fascinating thing where I've seen AI used.
So if we go back to, I think everyone's talking about how everyone needs to learn how to prompt, but I'm curious, do you find that, who needs to do the most leveling up? Is it the creatives or the engineers? Do the engineers need to learn sort of how to come out of their box and become more creative, or do the creatives need to actually learn and level up a little bit more about the technology side?
I think we need to learn each other's languages. We absolutely do.
Powerful.
Because I do think the engineers need to understand how what they do is used, and I do think those who are creative need to understand how things are built. And all of us want whole-brained organizations. You don't just want left or right brain. You need whole-brained, you need both, but it's learning each other's language.
So I was just given the call, so I just have one more question for you. What's the hope that you see for AI, particularly as it pertains to creative? What's the hope that you see?
My hope is that we still see brilliant humans working with AI to create fantastic, relevant stories.
And that's it for us. So thank you.